In the land between the rivers, where the Tigris and Euphrates wound their serpentine paths through fertile plains, there lived a young healer named Ninlil. Her name, meaning Lady of the Wind, had been given to her by her mother, a priestess of Enlil, in hopes that her daughter would one day rise to divine heights. Yet Ninlil found her calling not in the grand ziggurats that pierce the heavens, but in the quiet corners of Uruk, tending to the sick and wounded with herbs and poultices. On her 20th summer, as the date palms drooped heavy with fruit and the air shimmered with heat, Ninlil received a visitor who would change the course of her destiny. An old woman, bent like a reed in the wind, appeared at her door as the sun cast its dying rays across the mud-brick walls of the city. "Child," the crone wheezed, "I have traveled far, following the whispers of your name on the breeze." Ninlil bowed respectfully, ushering the woman inside her modest dwelling. Clay tablets lined the walls, each etched with healing formulas and invocations to the gods. The old woman's eyes, sharp despite her frail appearance, darted from tablet to tablet. "You seek knowledge of healing," the woman observed, her voice suddenly stronger. "But what you know is but a drop in the vast rivers of divine wisdom." From the folds of her dusty robe, she produced a small bundle wrapped in linen. As she unwound the fabric, Ninlil's breath caught in her throat. There, gleaming in the fading light, was a tablet unlike any she had ever seen. It was made not of clay, but of lapis lazuli, its surface etched with golden script that seemed to shift and dance in the dim light. "This is the Sipru Esse Bolu, the Book of Healing," the old woman declared. "It contains the secrets of life and death, whispered by Gula herself to the first healers of our land." Ninlil's hands trembled as she reached for the tablet. The stone was cool to the touch, yet it seemed to pulse with an inner warmth. The script was in an ancient form of cuneiform she could barely decipher, but as her fingers traced the symbols, she felt knowledge seeping into her mind like water into parched earth. "With great power comes great responsibility," the old woman warned. "The gods do not give their secrets freely. Each healing will require a sacrifice, and each life saved must be balanced by the gods' choosing." Before Ninlil could question further, the old woman vanished, leaving behind only the faintest scent of cedar and myrrh. Ninlil spent the night studying the tablet, her oil lamp burning low as she struggled to understand its mysteries. As dawn broke over the eastern horizon, she had deciphered the first passage. To heal the body, one must first heal the soul. To heal the soul, one must walk between the realms of gods and men. In the days that followed, Ninlil's reputation grew. Those who had been lame walked again after she traced the sacred symbols on their limbs. The blind received their sight when she whispered the holy incantations. But with each miracle came a price. After healing a merchant's son of a deadly fever, Ninlil found her own garden withered overnight. When she mended a warrior's shattered shield arm, she lost the ability to play her beloved lyre for a full moon cycle. The gods, it seemed, demanded balance in all things. As her fame spread, so too did the whispers. Some claimed she was blessed by Gula, the goddess of healing. Others muttered darkly that she had struck a bargain with Ereshkigal, queen of the underworld. Ninlil paid them no heed, focused only on her calling and the mysterious tablet that guided her hands. One sweltering afternoon, as the city buzzed with preparation for the New Year festival, a group of temple guards brought her a young girl. The child's body was rigid, her skin bearing the unmistakable marks of a serpent's venom. "Please," the girl's father begged, his voice thick with tears. She was gathering flowers for Inanna's shrine when the snake struck. The temple healers can do nothing. Ninlil consulted the lapis tablet, her heart heavy. The cure for such venom required the greatest sacrifice yet. As she read the golden script, the words burned themselves into her mind. To snatch one from Ereshkigal's realm, another soul must take their place in the land of no return. With trembling hands, Ninlil began the ritual. She drew sacred symbols around the girl's body with purified water, burning sweet herbs and chanting the names of the 7 gates of the underworld. As her voice rose in supplication, the air grew thick with unseen presences. She felt the weight of divine eyes upon her, Gula, watching with compassion, Ereshkigal, waiting to claim her due. The girl's body arched as if struck by lightning, then fell still. For a moment, all was silence. Then, with a gasping breath, color flooded back into her cheeks. Her eyes fluttered open, clear and bright as the morning sky. The price was swift and terrible. As the girl rose, Ninlil's beloved grandmother, her last living relative, collapsed in her home across the city. The old woman was dead before the sun set, her soul traded for the child's. That night, as Ninlil wept over her grandmother's body, she was visited by a dream. She stood in a vast hall of black marble, before a throne of bones and shadows. Upon it sat Ereshkigal herself, her beauty terrible to behold. "You play a dangerous game, little healer," the goddess spoke, her voice like the rustle of dried reeds. "The balance must be maintained. For every soul you snatch from my realm, another must take its place." "I understand, great queen," Ninlil replied, her voice steady despite her fear. "I accept the price." Ereshkigal's laugh was like breaking pottery. "Do you? The tablet you possess was not meant for mortal hands. It is a test, child. The gods watch to see what you will do with such power." Before Ninlil could respond, the dream shifted. She found herself in a garden of healing herbs, where Gula tended to her plants. The goddess turned to her with eyes full of compassion and wisdom. "You have a gifted heart, daughter," Gula said softly. "But remember, sometimes the greatest healing comes not from preventing death, but from helping others accept it with grace." Ninlil awoke with tears on her cheeks and wisdom heavy in her heart. The lapis tablet seemed to glow accusingly in the pre-dawn light. She realized then that the true test was not in how many lives she could save, but in understanding when to let go. As the years passed, Ninlil continued to heal, but with greater discretion. She learned to listen not just to the ailments of the body, but to the whispers of the gods. Sometimes, she turned people away, knowing that their time had come. To these, she offered comfort and guidance for the journey ahead, becoming a shepherd of souls as much as a healer of bodies. The lapis tablet remained in her possession, though she used it less and less. Its mysteries deepened with time, revealing not just cures for the body, but wisdom for the soul. Ninlil came to understand that true healing was not about defying the gods, but about finding one's place in the great balance of existence. When Ninlil's own time came, many years later, she faced it with the serenity of one who had walked between the realms of gods and men. The mysterious old woman appeared once more at her door, this time to guide her on her final journey. "You have learned well," the crone said, and Ninlil realized at last that she had been Gula herself, testing and teaching in mortal form. A century passed, and Ninlil's tale became legend, whispered in healing houses and chanted in temples. Yet in Uruk, now grown larger and grander, with its walls stretching ever higher toward the heavens, something stirred in the depths of forgotten chambers. Iltani, a young apprentice scribe in the Temple of Gula, spent her days copying medical texts onto fresh clay tablets, her fingers stained with the red ochre used to mark important passages. Unlike her peers who dreamed of serving in the grand chambers where the high priestesses performed their rituals, Iltani was drawn to the temple's dusty archives, where ancient knowledge lay sleeping in darkness. On the eve of the autumn equinox, as the temple prepared for the Feast of Gula, Iltani was tasked with retrieving old ritual tablets from a sealed chamber deep beneath the ziggurat. As she descended the worn stone steps, her oil lamp casting dancing shadows on walls carved with prayers, she felt a peculiar sensation, as if the very air was whispering her name. At the chamber's heart, behind stacks of mundane medical records, she found a small alcove sealed with bitumen and marked with symbols she had never seen before. Her heart racing, Iltani traced the symbols with her finger, recalling fragments of Ninlil's legend. As the last symbol was touched, the bitumen crumbled away like sand, revealing a small cavity containing a bundle wrapped in faded linen. Inside, gleaming as if it had been carved yesterday, lay the lapis lazuli tablet of legend. As Iltani's fingers brushed its surface, the golden script began to move, rearranging itself before her eyes. A voice, carried on a wind that shouldn't exist so far underground, whispered, "The cycle renews. The knowledge awakens. Are you prepared to walk the path between worlds, daughter of dust?" In that moment, the quiet scribe felt the weight of destiny settle upon her shoulders. The stories she had transcribed countless times suddenly felt alive, pulsing with possibility and danger. But before she could respond, a commotion echoed from above, screams and the sound of running feet. Clutching the tablet to her chest, Iltani raced up the stairs to find the temple in chaos. A mysterious illness had struck during the preparation of the feast, leaving dozens writhing in pain, their skin mottled with angry purple marks. The temple healers moved among the afflicted, their incantations seemingly powerless against whatever dark force was at work. Iltani felt the tablet grow warm against her chest as the golden script shifted again. The balance fractures. "A door once sealed has been opened. Will you pay the price to close it?" As she stood frozen in indecision, an elderly priest approached her. His eyes, rheumy with age, fixed upon the tablet in her hands, then widened in recognition. "So," he wheezed, "you have found it. After all these years, the Lady of Wind has chosen her successor." He revealed himself as Ninlil, the last living student of a student of Ninlil. "The tablet found you as it found her," he explained. "But know this, the path of divine healing is not an easy one. Each cure is a negotiation with the gods, and they drive hard bargains." As if to emphasize his words, another victim collapsed nearby, the purple marks spreading visibly across their skin. Iltani realized she faced the same choice Ninlil had so long ago, to embrace the power and its price, or to turn away and let fate take its course. With trembling hands, she raised the tablet and began to read. The symbols twisted and reformed, showing her visions of what had caused the illness. A sealed tomb disturbed during the temple renovations had released an ancient curse, a divine punishment long forgotten. To cure the afflicted, the tablet revealed, would require a journey to the dreamlands, the space between the mortal world and the divine. There, Iltani would have to face the demon responsible and negotiate a new balance. The price would be steep. For each person saved, she would have to sacrifice a year of her own life. As she began the ritual, burning sacred herbs and chanting in a language she had never learned yet somehow knew, Iltani felt reality shift around her. The temple dissolved, replaced by a vast desert of silver sand beneath a sky of swirling stars. Here, in the dreamlands, she could see the twisted form of the demon, a being of smoke and shadow with eyes of burning copper. What followed was not a battle of weapons, but of wits and will. For hours that felt like centuries, Iltani negotiated with the demon, offering years of her life in exchange for those afflicted. With each bargain struck, she felt her own life force diminishing, her hair turning gray, lines etching themselves into her young face. When she finally returned to her body, the illness was gone, leaving no trace except in the memories of those who had witnessed it. But Iltani was changed, physically aged decades in a single night, yet her eyes shone with the wisdom of millennia. In the years that followed, Iltani became known as the Twilight Healer, sought out by those who had exhausted all other options. Like Ninlil before her, she learned to balance the power of the tablet with the wisdom to know when to use it. She established a hidden school within the temple, passing on not just the medical knowledge of the ancients, but also the deeper wisdom of knowing when to heal and when to guide souls to their next journey. And so the cycle continued, the tablet passing from hand to hand down through the centuries, its power awakening only for those with the wisdom and courage to bear its burden. Some say it still exists today, waiting in some dusty archive or hidden shrine for the next healer brave enough to walk the path between worlds. For in the land between the rivers, where the old gods still whisper to those who know how to listen, magic never truly dies. It only sleeps, waiting for the right moment to awaken once more.